Hi everyone, this is Billy. Last week I shared a lot of video about 3D designs, 3D printable crystal radio like this one. Some of you asked me how to do it using Fusion 360. So I've created a number of videos to share with you how I am going to create a second radio for the FM crystal radio using Fusion 360. Hope you like it. Today I'm going to show you how you can design components using 3D designer software that can be printed out using a 3D printer. First, we need to look at this site, autodesk.com. You can go here to download a free version of the Fusion 360. We'll be using this software to design our radio components. So you can click personal use, then you can download either the Windows version or the Mac version of Fusion 360. After you've downloaded and installed, you will come up with this Fusion 360 screen. So the first thing you need to do when you start Fusion 360 is to click on this New Design to reset your menu to New Design. And then you automatically go to the Design mode. And then we need to create the first component called the baseboard. Let's go to the document setting, right click, New Components. We'll name the component as Baseboard. Then we can create a component. In Fusion 360, you have to always take a look at how to navigate the screen. You can use this navigation cube, point at the sides. If you point at the front, it will go to the orientation that you're looking from the front. Or you can click on this arrow to turn it to the right side, back, or back to the left, or to the front again. And then you can go from the top, or you can go back to the bottom by clicking this arrow. Or you can turn and twist like that. The other way to move the screen is to click on this multi-dimensional viewer. You can click on it and then click the left button to drag it in different way, so it will turn your orientation like that. Once you have done with it, click on the escape key to get rid of it. The other way you want to do is pan, move horizontally or vertically. So click on this hand icon to move the whole thing up, down, left, right. But it won't allow you to twist and turn. It will just allow you to move up or down, left or right. Okay. Once you're finished, click Escape. So now we are ready to create a baseboard. Let's look at, expand all the arrows, and let's see what we have in the baseboard so far. We have only the origin. So if you want to see the origin, you can turn this eye icon on, then you see the origin. Origin is the index of the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. The origin O means the 0, 0, 0 coordinates. And then you also have the other origin, like xy means the xy plane, that is this plane. xz means the xz, the vertical plane here. yz is the other vertical plane here. So when we draw something, we'll need to draw on this plane. So right now we need to draw on the XY plane. So let's click on the XY plane and right click, not right click. We press the S key. It's a shortcut for sketch, S for sketch. And then we type in the rectangle we want to draw. We want to draw the center rectangle. Center rectangle means once I fix the center, I can create a nice rectangle with equal length and width. So let me click on the center and then move the mouse like that. We want to create a rectangle which is around 80 millimeter wide, 100 millimeter long. Okay, once we finish, we'll click enter. Okay, let's look at it from the front again. Oh, this is the back. Let me go back to the front. Okay, so this is our rectangle. So 100 millimeter long, 80 millimeter wide. Yeah. So next, what we need to do is to make it a box. So to make it a box, we can just click on this sketch, this rectangle. Just use the left mouse button and click on it. It will turn into deep blue. Once it's in deep blue, that means it's highlighted, and then it's ready to take the next action. So let's right click on it, and then you see the menu here. Go to pull and press pull. Click on that. You see an arrow and this menu here. You can either input the distance here or move the arrow up and down. So now we need to move down because we want to keep this surface flat on the origin, so we can add components easier later. So let's move it down to the thickness we want. We want it to be 12. Actually, not 12. Let me check. Yeah, 12. We want it to be 12 millimeter. Minus 12 millimeter actually, because we're going down. And then you see here, you say a new body is being created. So let's click OK. And you'll find here that this baseboard now has one more feature called the body. The body is a solid object, unlike sketch. Right? It has also got a sketch. Sketch is the two-dimensional object. It's a surface, a drawing on a surface. So the sketch is our rectangle. The body is our block that we now created with a thickness of 12 millimeter. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to make it a shell. That means make it a box instead of a solid block. So how do we do that? We have to flip this around. Look at the bottom first. We want to take out or cut out all the material from this surface, so it will become a box. There's a simple command to do that. We just left click on it to turn it deep blue, to highlight it, and then right click. We'll see that there's a shell command. The shell command is like a square with holes. So let's click on that. What it will do is it will cut out material and leave a wall with a thickness that we defined it here, inside thickness. That means how thick we need the wall of the box to be. So we need to keep it as thick as thin as possible, but not too thin, otherwise it will collapse. So let's make it 3 millimeter. 1 millimeter is too fragile, 2 will also be a bit fragile, 3 is just okay. And then we'll click OK. Now you see, a box has been created. So it was a block before, now it becomes a box. Okay, and the surface is at this zero's origin here. So we can put component on top easily without worrying later. Okay. So the next component we want to create is the gear. And let's go to the Tools menu, Add-ins, Script and Add-ins, and then move our mouse wheel, move it down to spur gear, which means the wheel gear, the circular gear, and then let's click Run. Now you see there's a menu. The first thing we need to do is we need to change the module to 1. Module will measure the size of the gear using this formula. The diameter of the gear versus divided by the number of teeth. We want to keep it small, so we want to make the module 1. Number of teeth, this is a knob, so we want to make it small, 12 teeth. There's a problem if you go to less than 12. That's what I heard from others. So let's make it 12 for the time being. And then for the hole diameter, we won't be drilling holes at this moment. We'll leave it for the later. So we put in 0. The gear thickness is how thick the gear will be. We need to make it 6. So it has, it can firmly mount an M3 screw. Okay, and then we get a warning here. The wood fillet radius is too large. It has to be less than 0.59. So let's change this to 0.59. So the wood fillet diameter is actually this gap here. If your gear is smaller, this gap will be smaller. That's why we need to make it smaller. Yeah. Now the warning is gone. We can click OK. And you see that something is created here. Let's hide the origin so we can see it clearly. So this is the gear we just created. This one. We can even see it more clearly if we activate the gear. So we highlight this gear and click on this radio button called activation button. Activation means whatever action you are going to do to modify things, we only add on this activated component. Okay, now we are going to create a second gear, which is a bigger one. Before that, let's move this gear down because the second gear will be also created around here in the 0, 0, 0 coordinate. So let's move it down. How to move it down? We highlight by clicking on the browser here, the spur gear component, and then we hit the M key, M for mother. And you see we have arrows here. That means we can move up, down, left, right. So let's move it down. Click on this arrow and drag it down to around this area first. And then we'll click capture position to lock it down in this position. Okay, so it has been locked down here. So now we can use this space to create the other bigger gear. So again, let's run the 2 add-on scripts. And then spur gear. And then run. Okay, now we need to create a bigger gear. We need to create a 36 teeth gear. We shouldn't change this number here because the gap needs to be the same, otherwise the two gear will not match. The others keep the same, 6 mm thick, everything the same except the number of teeth, 36. Click OK. Now this second bigger gear is created. Let me activate it, clicking the activation radio button. And let's look at it. Okay, now we need to move this gear to the side, so we can design the rest. So how do we move it? Again, highlight this spur gear, and then press the M key, M for mother. And then instead of dragging the up or down, right, there's a square. We can drag the square to move the gear freely, up, down, left, right. Just keep pressing the left mouse button when you drag it across. Okay, now we want to drag it into around here. Okay. And capture position. Okay. So let's take a clearer look. Go to top. So you see this gear doesn't match, right? It's not moving together. Let's continue to move this bigger gear to the right place. Maybe around here. Okay, and capture position. Then we can highlight the spur gear, the smaller one. Click the activation radio button. Press M key to move it. Okay, now we can move it just at the position hitting the notches in the gear. Okay. And then if you see there's a degree turn angle, maybe we'll enlarge it, it will be easier to see. Okay, you can now adjust better. You can adjust until the angle is perfect. Well, I think this angle is perfect. Right, so there's a small gap here, which is good. We don't want to make it as tight like this, otherwise it will not turn. So there's a small gap. Like that. That will be enough. Right. And then we can capture the position. So this is how we fit the gears together, and then later on we can drill the holes. We'll penetrate through the baseboard and fix the axis of the gear. Okay, but before that, what we want to do is we need to add a knob. Okay. Another thing we missed. This gear here need to be a bit thicker. Otherwise, when you put the knob on top, it will be too tight. The large gear will not be able to move. So what we want to do is to make this smaller gear a little bit taller. So do we need to go back to the script again to regenerate the gear? No, we don't need. It's a good thing about Fusion 360 to just make the phase factor or thicker. So let's just make sure we activated the spur gear, the small one. Click on this, turn it to black, turn it to blue, and then right click. And then there's the icon called press pull, right? So you can still move it up and down, adjust the height of the gear. So how much more we want? Usually a gap of 0.5 millimeter is all sufficient. So we'll increase the thickness by 0.5 millimeter. Click OK. Now let's take a look. So you see there's a little bit of a gap here. So it will be enough to avoid the larger gear to be too tight. Okay. So next we need to build on this small gear, make a knob on top of it. So when we turn the knob, the gear will be moving and driving the bigger gear. So how do we do that? Again, we click and turn this face to blue because we are building on this face. And then we right click, not right click, sorry. We press the S key. And then we type in the word circle. Circle. Right. Or even simpler, we click on this face and just type the key C. C is the shortcut for circle. Once you type C, you see this cross appear, right? The cross is for you to fix the center of the circle. So because we are going to use it to ride on this gear, we need to line up with the center point of the gear. So it's already there in the origin, right? Go there. And then you see a hand. That means you can ready to click the left mouse button and drag. Oh, sorry. I think we need to fix the face first. Yeah, fix the face, press the C icon, and then fix the face again. And fix the face, press the C icon. Go to the center and drag the circle out. So this circle needs to be the knob, right? Depending on how big you want the knob to be. You want it to be a small one, a big one. It's all up to you. So I want it to be a little bit bigger, say 20 millimeter. Okay. Press enter. And you have a circle of 20 millimeter. Next, you want to turn this circle into a cylinder. So what you want to do is what you want to do now is to highlight this circle and then right click, press and pull. Okay, it will allow you to create the cylinder you need. There's an arrow here, so you can drag, move it up, and you'll create a cylinder. Now wait a minute, how come the cylinder, the middle is empty? What happened? Because we haven't selected the inside pattern as well. So let's cancel and do it again. So you need to click on the inside again, right? Let's see. So if you only click on the inside, it will give you the inside icon pattern. You have to click in both inside and outside. Then the whole thing will be moving up. Right. See, now you have a full cylinder. And how thick we want the cylinder to be? I think again 6 millimeter will be fine. And see here the operation is joined. That means these two parts will be joined together as one part. So let's click OK. And then you see there's only one body in the spur gear component here. And this is the one body. So when you highlight, you will highlight both the gear and the cylinder on top. So next we need to do some cosmetic thing on the knob. Because the knob will be too smooth, it's hard to be held by a thumb. Right? So we need to print some patterns on the knob, like the regular knob you can buy on the street. So how do we do that? To do that, we'll highlight the edge of this cylinder, this wall here, this face here, and then we right click, not right click, and then we press the S key. This again select the rectangle, center rectangle. Okay. And then we'll highlight at the side here. Okay. Click on it. And then, let me try again. Because you need to draw on the surface here. It's a bit hard sometimes. Click on the S and then the rectangle. It seems to be drawing on different things. Alright, I think now this one will work. So we draw a rectangle here. Check. And the rectangle is there. Let me do it again. So click on this surface. Click on this surface. S, rectangle, center rectangle. Draw on the rectangle here. So we want to draw it 5 millimeter long, 2 millimeter wide. finish sketch. Okay, and then we need to cut into this surface. This one seems to be a bit different. Alright, so let's do it again. Draw on this rectangle. Alright, so let's cut into it. Let's put, and then we need to type -1 millimeter because we are cutting into the knob here. You see the operation is now cut. And then click OK. So if you look at it, there's now a small ditches here, and this is just one of them. What we want to do is replicate this as a pattern around the surface of the knob, and it's easy in Fusion 360. You just need to do it in this way. Let's highlight that feature here, and then go to Solid. Click on Solid first, and then create pattern, circular pattern. Click on that. So we have to select feature, and we select the feature here. That means the ditches here. Select it, and then we need to select the axis. So click select and find the axis. The axis is square. Sometimes it's hard to find the axis. The axis should be this one, right, which is the center of the origin. This is Z axis. And then it asks you for how many patterns you want to repeat around the surface. Default is 3. So we want to make it better. We want to make it 30. Alright, let's see what happens. It says 30 is a bit too much. Is it? Maybe we change it to 20. Yeah, 20 is a bit better. Now we can see the pattern. Yeah, or we can even change it to be a bit lesser. Maybe 15. Yeah, click OK. So you see the knob has the pattern. But if you don't like it, you may think, oh, it's a bit not enough, right? So let's go to this timeline here. It's a nice feature of Fusion 360. There's a timeline. You can always go back and change. So right click on this timeline and click Edit Feature. And you can go back here to change it again. You go back to change it to 24. Click OK. Okay, now this looks more like it. 24. Looks more like a conventional pattern on the knob. Okay, so now I think we are done for part 1. We just need to drill the holes. Okay, so how do we drill the holes? It's easy. But let's drill the holes in the big gear first. Right. So we have to activate the big gear. Come to the browser here. Click on the activation button. And then click on the big gear. You see there's already a center of the circle here. So we just need to use it to drill the hole to create another circle. So let's create another circle. Highlight it and press the C key. You'll find this cross here moving. Let's move the cross to the center. Left click and then drag it out. It will become a circle. This circle will be the diameter of the hole where the M3 screw will pass through. I tested with my printer. 2.8 millimeter will be a good size to let the screw pass through. You can try other dimension. 2.8 works for me. It depends on your printer, how accurate it is. Sometimes the actual size will be different. Okay. Then we click Finish Sketch. Okay, now we have a circle. And then what we want to do is again the same way, make it bigger. Highlight the center. Turn that circle into a deep blue, and then right click, press and pull. Now we are going down, so let's turn the view a bit. Okay, so we drag this arrow downward. Okay, now let's go to this menu. The distance we can put in a number ourselves, but if we put in a fixed number, every time we change the number, I mean the thickness and things like that, it will be very hard, right? You have to come back and remember to change it, otherwise the hole will be gone. So what option we have here is even better, is to object. That means I don't care what is the number, I just want this hole to pass through the object. So which object we want to pass through? So again, let's go back down here, and the object is this one, right? We want to pass through. So let's go to Object and click on this, the inside of this box. So you see the arrow just extended out from the object. Right, select it. See the hole there? And then we can click OK. And we can come back and check whether the hole is still there. You see where you have the hole, it will look different. It's lighter color. Right, there's a hole. If you don't have a hole, it's different color. So make sure the hole is drilled through and you can see it clearly. Okay, so that's the hole. So we have nailed down the big gear and drilled through a hole. This is nice. Okay. Let's go back. Let's drill the hole in this small gear. Okay, we need to drill through all the way to the bottom. So we can do the same trick again. First, activate the spur gear. Click on it to turn it blue. Type the C key. And then move the cloth to the center of the gear. Left click once, move the mouse, and then put in the size of the hole, 2.8 millimeter. Okay, and then enter and enlarge it. Click on the center piece where the hole is, turn it blue to highlight it, and then right click, press and pull. And then again we have to change the distance to object, and then flip the view to the bottom of the box and click on the box. See the thing highlighted in blue. Click OK. So now we have a hole drilled through. Let's examine the hole. You see some lighting effect, right? where the sun ray passes through the hole and shine out here. That's how you can see there's a hole. How nice, right? That's the hole. So two holes with drills. We've wedged the gear so they touches up nicely, not too tight, not too loose, hopefully. So this is how we did the design. So once you finished working on your model before you leave, don't forget to click File, Save, give it a name, the FM Crystal Radio, and save it. So you can come back to it next time and continue working. So one thing you may notice that Fusion 360 save your file in the cloud. So, but optionally you can export a copy to your own hard disk. You can click File Export, and then you can choose the type Fusion 360 archive files and choose your own directory, and then export. It will create the file that allow you to keep a copy of your documents in your own computer. Otherwise, when the cloud goes down, all your data is lost. So this is something you should remember. I'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll continue to look at how to finish the design of the FM crystal radio. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, do support me by clicking like, subscribe, and share with your friends too. Thank you. Bye now.